right, and we're live. Welcome back in action. This is the Off and Turn One podcast, episode I don't know. Just kidding. It's Watkins Glen, Nashville day for IndyCar and NASCAR, respectively. Playoff race, playoff chaos. We'll get to that in a little while. We'll talk about Xfinity Cup and IndyCar today. And IndyCar was interesting after the start of the race and everything, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But of course, I'm Gary. This is Mike Campigio, everybody.
How we doing, everybody? How's everybody doing on this Sunday evening?
Just about an hour before we get to Sunday Night Football on NBC.
Yep, my team will be playing tonight.
We got the Chicago Bears playing against the Houston Texans, the 1-0 Houston.
And the 1-0 Chicago Bears.
I would talk about football, but this is a racing podcast. Oh, hey, we got a like on the video already. Look at that. Oh, we got 2 likes on the video because I liked it. Anyways, so where do you want to start, Mike? You want to talk about Xfinity yesterday? You want to talk about Cup today? Where do you want to go?
Do we want to give our viewers a little bit of just a recap of the last couple weeks? Because I know we didn't do one last week.
Yeah.
Just mention what happened.
I was dead tired after a move and I hurt my knee, so that's a recap. Oh, not the kind of recap you're looking for. Well, we had Darlington last week. And Atlanta. No, we had Atlanta last week. That's what it was.
Atlanta was last week.
Yeah. Turn left, turn right. That's right, Ryan. Right. No, we could talk about Atlanta. That was kind of a chaotic race. Well, not really. It really wasn't chaotic. No, that was probably the calmest Atlanta race that we've had since the repave.
Yeah, I would agree. Same thing with the Xfinity race there, too, at Atlanta.
Yeah. I think it's starting to play into effect where I think Junior's right. And Junior's right about a lot of things, but to where they could probably start taking the plates off the cars and make it just an intermediate track again.
Yeah.
Instead of this drafting stuff.
But the big news out of Atlanta really is Joey Logano. He's the first driver to lock himself into the round of 12.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of saw how he raced today at Watkins Glen. He was able to race a little more aggressively because he had that win. But, yeah, he got to seal that win. Can't say I'm shocked. I think he won the first race there in the Auto Trader car there a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
So, I mean, he's won Atlanta before. Probably the same car. I know it was a similar looking car, but
right.
But regardless, Logano won Atlanta. Who won the Xfinity race at Atlanta? I don't even remember.
Austin Hill. That's the third.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't remember, because I don't really care for Austin Hill.
Because you don't care for, as they call him, Big Country.
Big Country. I call him other things, but that's not appropriate for this podcast.
Right.
But yeah, Austin Hill won the Xfinity race. I don't even really remember what happened at Atlanta, to be honest with you, so I don't know how much longer I can keep the conversation on it.
Kyle Larson had a big accident in Atlanta early on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He had like a tire down or something.
And then Denny Hamlin, after saying, I'm going to run in the back all day, got destroyed on the last lap in that wreck.
And ended up running in the back anyhow. I mean, just, he was saying that they were going to wreck, but they never did until the last lap.
Yep, and then he was in it.
Ball Baby Hill. I don't know what that means, Ryan, but you're going to have to clarify on that. By the way, Anthony Campbell, newest member of Warrior Enterprises, says hello in the chat. Hi,
Looking forward to him being in the broadcast booth this week.
Yeah, he'll be with us this Wednesday night for the Xfinity Series. We'll talk about that a little later on. By the way, this podcast is presented by All-Star 15. AJ allows me to crash and trash his server every week. Well, most weeks. To put on this show with Mike. So very grateful for AJ and what he does for not only this podcast, but for our team entirely. Anthony, things are going well. Hope you're doing well too. Be ready with a webcam too, so we can see your big ugly face. I'm just kidding. You're not ugly. But yeah, so let's talk about Watkins Glen. Let's talk about, we can't really talk about ARCA because I didn't really watch it.
Well, it was the Connor Zillett show
I heard
Friday too.
He won the pole and led every lap and won the race.
Brayton
was there. He was in the field, but
which I mean basically gave us a preview what Saturday was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he put on a clinic on Saturday in that Xfinity race. For it being his first start, I was kind of thinking it was going to be similar to how his first truck start went, where goes in
He was
turn
going to miss
one.
turn one again.
Yeah, missed turn one again, full send into one, and finish fourth, and have to come back from the back 4 or 5 times because he doesn't know the track limits. But no, in all seriousness, Saturday was good. It was good to see Connor Zillage put on a show, and he's going to be driving full time next year in the Xfinity Series for Junior and that number 88 Chevrolet. So looking forward to that. That should be good. That should be fun. What did you think of the Xfinity race? It seemed like it was pretty decently calm most of the race until the last couple of restarts we had.
Yeah, it was. For the most part, it was pretty calm, like you said. Then we got those late race yellows, and that what's turned up the anarchy level like 5,000%, as they would say. We had, I think it was one of the last restarts. We had 3 separate wrecks and like 2 to go, and everybody from like second on back, like through like 5th or 6th or 8th or 10th, were all in like a major pack on that last lap, and it was like they were all trying to get ahead of each other because in case that 88 run out of fuel, because nobody knew if Connor was saved enough fuel to get to the end. But I mean, you had SVG sideways in the carousel. I don't know how he didn't wreck there. And it's just like, it just continued on until we had the big one on the back straightaway that finally ended the race under yellow. But I mean, racing from second on back was insane those last couple of restarts.
Yeah, and just seeing how SVG was able to avoid the wrecks and get close to that 98 car who clipped the grass and ran out of talent. Riley Herbst, if you're listening, I don't really mean that you lost talent because you are a hell of a race car driver. It's not a gimme to win at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, but had a moment there and wiped out the field. That was a crazy wreck on the last lap there. And Connor Zillage won that race, so good for him. Everybody in the chat saying Connor was impressive. Now let's see him in the Xfinity car on an oval. Yeah, we will be seeing Connor Zillage in an Xfinity car on the oval, Ryan. Homestead, I have been told, is his next race, so he will be running Homestead here in a few weeks.
Because I believe Travis Carson Quaffles was going to be running the 88 car like 3 or 4 more times this year.
Yeah, so it's going to be Junior this week at Bristol, and then I think Carson Quaffle's going to run in a couple of mile and a half. I think Carson Quaffle's going to go to that 1 car next year for some reason. I have a gut feeling. Or he's going to go to the 9. Because they're going to have Allgaier, Sammy Smith, probably Carson Quaffle in the 9, and then Connor in the 88. Probably. That's my guess.
They'll get rid of the
X the 1 car.
I was going to
say,
they'll
transfer the owner points from the 1 to the 88, probably.
Yeah, that's my thinking too.
Let's see. Anthony says his webcam's ready to go. AJ says he did a great job saving fuel under caution. Yes, Connor Zillage did a great job. That entire last run saving gas. Absolutely. It was a good time. And Ryan says the restarts at Watkins Glen was a Royal Rumble yesterday. I think honestly today too. I think that counts for today too.
Yep.
The restarts were pretty chaotic there. And yes, check out our merch tent, guys. Not tent, store. Whatever.
But how about Sheldon Creed finishing second again?
Well, see, is it bad that I kind of think he lucked into second yesterday?
I mean, he technically did kind of look into second, but
I mean, he finished second again, but
I think that's what 12 races now he's finished second without a win.
Yeah, 10 or 12. Yeah, it's most in the series history. Because Dale Jarrett and Hemrick, I think, are tied with were tied with the most at 9 or 10 or something like that. So he knows how to run consistent. So I'll give Creed that. He's a very consistent driver, but he's got to go take the extra step up to get to that first that main position. I don't think he's going to be able to do it in a hot car next year.
No, I don't think so either.
So, but yeah, we'll talk about Bristol here in a little bit, Ryan. Most likely Dale Jr.'s last NASCAR race.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
This weekend at Bristol. If they're running the 88 car full time next year with Connor, it's likely it's going to be that's going to be the end of Junior's run in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I think it's gonna be fun because he had a chance to win that race last year and then he caught on fire, literally and figuratively. Um, so, but let's talk about the Cup race today. I did not get to watch much of it because I was watching the IndyCar race. So, Mike, I'm gonna kind of let you have the floor a little bit here. I did see the start. I can't remember who won the pole today.
Ross Chastain.
Ross Chastain. Now, every time that I looked at the NASCAR app or I watched the race on my phone, it seemed like Ross had the car to beat for the majority of the race.
Which he did. He kind of got screwed with the last yellow with Suarez before the end of stage 2. That kind of killed his uh strategy there toward the end of that race, and he had to pit under green before one of the last yellows came out. But overall, I thought the race was very, very, very good. They didn't have as much tire fall off as they were predicting because at one point, Ross, SVG, and a couple other guys were like, they stayed out at the end of stage 2 and they were going like halfway through stage 3 and they had not changed tires since the end of stage 1. So the tire fall off was not a big deal, which was kind of surprising when everybody was talking all week was like, oh, we're going to see 2 to 3 seconds of fall off. We didn't really technically see that today.
No. And part of me is thinking maybe this time of year as opposed to when they had the race in beginning of August. I don't know. It's also been like 90 degrees here the last couple of weeks here in Indianapolis, so I mean we're still full blown summer here. But
and we had a lot of playoff drivers having issues today. It started on lap 1.
Let's talk about lap 1 bus stop, or as everybody but Dylan Welch, thank you Dylan, calls it the damn inner loop. It's not a freaking loopy loop. It's a bus stop. Let me just say that. It's a bus stop, not an inner loop. What's an inner loop?
Yeah, right.
It's a bus stop.
He must have thought IMSA was running there or something like that.
IMSA calls it the bus stop. Everybody calls it the bus stop except NASCAR folk. They call it this damn inner loop. It's not an inner loop. It's a bus stop.
But
get me fired up. That's the way you do it.
But let's just say Corey LaJoie decided to full on send it and took out Kyle Busch, and then that
again took out Kyle Busch.
Yep, and that took out.
Poor Kyle, man.
I mean, playoff driver Blaney, he was done. Hamlin.
What was the deal with Blaney? They parked him, and they probably shouldn't have ? I don't know.
Supposedly, his steering rack broke before the wreck actually happened. Before he got into the wreck, and he was saying like, just take me back to pit road and let me fix the steering rack. But they're like, nope, we're gonna hook you up and you're done. And he was kind of like, what the hell?
Huh. Interesting. Well, that sucks because I like Blaney a lot, and I couldn't quite understand what he was saying in his interview, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he was just complaining about NASCAR's rules, and honestly, my opinion is the damaged vehicle policy. I get why they do it, but sometimes it's like, what's the point of it? Sometimes,
I'd say get rid of the damn DVP and let them take the fenders off and put them back on and do whatever the hell they want.
Oh, I agree. I agree. But
to me, it's not that hard. But NASCAR is trying to solve a cure for cancer all the time, and it doesn't make sense.
Well, continuing with that wreck, I mean, Blaney, that ended his day. He was a playoff driver. C. Bell was in that wreck. And Hamlin, Hamlin's day was basically over. Brad Keselowski was involved in that wreck. So it was like a bunch of playoff guys right in a row. Boom, 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 boom. Like not even like.
Now let's not talk about Brad getting money ramped at the end of that race.
He did get money wrapped, but he and Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin all got into each other at one point. They were 3 wide, and that got Hamlin in the fence again. Suarez was in the gravel trap. That killed his day. Tyler Reddick was around twice today. That's another playoff driver with more issues. And then, like we said at the end, William Byron money ramped on Brad Keselowski because Joey Logano, who already advanced, decided to get squeezed and turn Brad into Byron.
Yeah. Well, we have an interesting poll question in here. Thanks, AJ, for putting this in here. Does Denny Hamlin make it to the round of 12? Y'all participate in that poll question.
We will answer that later on because
we'll answer that later on. But keep that question in the back of your mind there, Mike, and we'll talk about it. But
Well, we also had Martin Truex. He got damaged today. That's another playoff driver that had issues. I'm trying to think. There was one more. Who am I forgetting? He was in one of those last wrecks. I
There
forget
was
who.
like half the playoff field was in something.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
And
Uh,
the finish though, we want to talk about that?
yeah, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I just want to give a shout out to Juan Pablo Montoya though. I know people give him a lot of crap to call him jet dryer guy and how he's not that great of a race car driver. Blah 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 blah. I saw today he spent most of the race in the top 10.
Hmm.
Like he was anywhere from like 10th to 15th most of the race. Um, for a guy coming in for the first Cup race of 10 years and coming in there and just being solid and in it all day, I'll give it to him. I thought he put on a good race today. Um, I know some people will probably disagree, but I thought for him being not really in racing at all since 2020, not doing really any racing the last 2 or 3 years, I thought he did pretty good today. So just wanted to give a shout out to JPN. Because he was one of my favorite drivers growing up, and then when he came back to IndyCar after his NASCAR career was over, I thought he was doing pretty good for Roger. So,
Hmm.
but yeah. So apparently there was a wreck that took the camera out too today.
There was. Well, it was close to being two cameras being taken out. It was the flap one accident with Stenhouse was the one that took out the camera and the bus stop for NBC. And then when Byron got money ramp, that about took off that camera and the S's.
Yeah.
So it'd have been a very pricey day for the NBC production crew.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: for Lee Diffie doing radio style, that felt kind of awkward. Just a few exchanges that I was able to watch, because I don't watch much. I didn't get a chance to watch much of the race today, but it just seemed kind of awkward.
Mike Begley got cut off a few times today.
And
Compared
like
to
Jeff Burton a few times got
Yeah.
cut off as well. Like they didn't even go to Jeff at all in turn 6 and 7 like they were supposed
Not like yesterday.
to. I don't know. Uh,
Go ahead.
Lee Diffie's a much better broadcaster than Rick Allen. And I
Yes.
think the reason why they did the radio style was to try and get Rick Allen to talk less.
Yep. I could see it.
Where with Lee, he knows how a TV booth works. He's done TV. And he knows how to commentate a race. So why are we making him do radio style?
I don't know.
Like, that was his first probably radio style broadcast since he might have been doing radio back in Australia, probably. That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't be doing a radio style broadcast. We don't need him to be doing that.
No.
Like, if you want to have a radio style broadcast, put Rick out in the booth because he knows how to do it.
Yeah.
But it should not have been radio style this weekend. I'm sorry.
Maybe just a Saturday race, yes, but
yeah, maybe just Saturday race, but Sunday, no, shouldn't have happened. Because I feel bad for Mike Bagley because he did get cut off a few times, and so did Jeff Burton. There were laps where they didn't even talk with Jeff Burton at all. Particularly the last lap is what I remember that sticking out because they didn't talk to Jeff at all. As soon as they came out of the carousel, Lee Diffie took it over.
Yep.
So it was kind of one of those things where it's like Jeff had an off week.
Well, even Dylan Welch on the last lap too. He didn't talk about anything in the inner loop either because Lee Diffie just took it from the inner loop all the way through.
And honestly, like the last lap or the last couple laps of the race, I think you need to let your lead on especially on TV. I don't care if it's radio style or not. Your lead guy needs to be calling the race. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know. Don't do radio style for TV. It just doesn't make any damn sense. Like, it was cool at first when they tried to do it with Junior and all them, but it just, doesn't make sense. Just do it right. Just do it the normal way. Like, I guess that's my only gripe.
I was gonna say, Fox doesn't do it when they do road courses. They don't do radio style.
No, there's no need to. There's no reason.
If you want radio, just put on MRN or PRN.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yes, exactly. That part. Because PRN does an excellent job with the road course stuff because they do more road courses than MRN. If you think about it, they got Coda, they got Sonoma,
Charlotte Roval. Yep.
I mean, I guess MRN does like the Chicago Street Race and Watkins Glen.
That's it, really.
I mean, what's the other road race they do? Is that it for this year?
I think that's it.
Yeah, because even when IMS does the road race, it does the road course.
It's IMS.
It's IMS Radio Network. It's some PRN guys for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They're like pit reporters, and you had Doug Rice in the booth with Mark Janes, which made sense. But then you had like IMS radio people, IndyCar radio people doing that, so it made sense. But let's talk about the poll that we had here, or we could talk about the finish. Let's talk about that first, and we'll talk about this poll question that we got here in the chat. A lot of unanimous votes here. That's funny. We'll talk about that here in a minute too. But the finish to that race, I thought was great. People are probably going to disagree with it because everybody wants to see the Australian guy win. But with all the crap that Buescher has been through this year, all the close losses, it was good for him to see him put pressure on a driver like SVG. SVG made a mistake going into the bus stop.
He did. And
Buescher was able to capitalize on that mistake and win.
And he didn't wreck him. He moved him, but he didn't wreck him.
He did the classic stock car thing. He moved him out of the way. He rattled his cage.
Well, you think about it too. That was kind of fair play too, because on the initial restart there, I mean, SVG bumped him out of the way too to make it 3 wide, and that's how SVG took the lead. So I mean, it's fair game. And I give credit to SVG. I mean, after he made that mistake, which is very rare for SVG to make a mistake on a road course, especially, but going into the last couple corners, I mean, he did try to fully send it, but he didn't take Christopher or Buescher out.
He didn't take Buescher out. No. And I'll give him credit for that. I thought it was a very classy way to end the race.
I agree.
But I mean, it was cool to see. It's cool to see RFK win because, back in the 90s and early 2000s, if you watched NASCAR, that was the team. That was the team to beat, and I think people got tired of seeing Roush winning every week. But now that, they're kind of making this upswing back, it's cool to see. One, I know they've only won 2 races this year as an organization, but I think what really meant something for Brad to see both cars win in the same year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was really something they wanted to check off their list, which was good. I know they wanted to get both cars in the playoffs, and that didn't happen, but to see both cars in victory lane the same year was great. Now, next year, we just got to see, all right, can both cars win races in the regular season and make the playoffs and then make a deep run? Mm-hmm. I think that's where that next step is going to be for RFK, and then getting back into the Daytona 500 victory. I know that Brad wants to win that race. I know Kyle Busch wants to win that race, but he's not on RFK.
No.
And Buescher wants to win that race. He's won the 400 miler. But I think the Daytona 500 for them is their next goal and make it a deep playoff run. So, but that was Watkins Glen.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
It was a great weekend.
We do have a poll question. 5 votes for the poll question so far. Does Denny Hamlin make it to the round of 12? We've talked about his playoff struggles here. These first couple of races. Wrecked at Atlanta on the last lap. Didn't do super well today at Watkins Glen. Do you think he makes it to the round of 12, Mike?
Well, knowing that we're going to Bristol and he won there in the spring, even though that got DQ'd. Sorry. Dang. And he's only 6 points out of it.
Man, I'm tired of your facts.
Where he could have easily been 20 points out today. Yeah, at one point he was about 20 points out.
I saw at one point he was like 30 out.
So I think
that made me happy.
I think now where he's at and where he's won at Bristol before, he'll make it into the round of 12. Is my viewpoint.
Yeah, I hope they bring back spring. I really do.
That is actually confirmed. They will be doing the same tire as the spring race.
Frick yes. Yes. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I heard the GM for Goodyear, Greg Stucker, this week was talking
Great.
about it, and
I
he
love
confirmed
Greg.
it.
Because he's been working for Goodyear for forever, and he and Tony Stewart hated that guy. That's why I hope he keeps his job at Goodyear for forever. Because if Tony Stewart hates you, you're doing something decently right.
What do you think? You think Hamlin's gonna make it?
No.
Okay, let's hear it.
They've been on a cold streak. I think, in my opinion. I mean, he didn't run that great at Darlington. Didn't do great at Daytona. I mean, the last since the Olympic break, they haven't really done much.
No.
I mean, so I think it could be one of those years where he doesn't make it. It'd be unfortunate because actually it'd be kind of funny because we went with this all-in crap at the beginning of the season. If y'all listen to his podcast, which I do, I listen to his podcast because he does have some pretty good insight. But seeing his biasness is kind of funny to me. All of JGR has been cold. That's a good point, Ryan. But yeah, I don't think that's Bristol. I just don't. I just think either somebody's going to win below him that needs to get in, or something else is going to happen. He's going to have some kind of trouble, whether it's steering rack or blow a tire and hit the fence. Something's going to happen to that 11 car where he ain't going to make it. That's just my thinking. Now, I could be wrong, and he could make it into the round of 12 by winning the damn race.
Yep.
We've seen that many times, but I don't see it. Not this year. Maybe next year, because that's what they say for him. He's like the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe next year. That was funny. Anyways.
Yeah, because it's funny because they got their butts whooped today by the Saints.
I was really hoping the Cowboys would have won that game. I don't know why. I can't stand the Saints. I think their fan base is annoying. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about Nashville. That race was interesting today.
Before you start, I was gonna say before you start, because I'm gonna lean on you for most of this. I turned this off after Willpower was basically done, folks. Just saying. Sorry. As a Willpower fan, that was about it. Well, because I focused more on NASCAR after that, and I didn't get back to IndyCar really.
Well, Tom Kirkwood won the pole. In case you did not keep up with that, Felix Rosenqvist was given his 2-year option for MSR. So Meyer Shank Racing, he's going to be back for the next 2 years. Unfortunate how his day ended today, but regardless, I thought it was a pretty decent race. We'll talk about it. So, beginning of the race, I thought was great. A little bit chaotic, a little bit tight racing, which was good to see because the last time they raced at Nashville, it was really hard to get side-by-side racing there. Really good, hard side-by-side racing there. So it was good to see. Good to see they had that going on today. They did have an upper groove, which was nice. Willpower with his belt issue. Not exactly sure what happened with that during the first run of the race. Sucks because it took him right out of the championship spot, literally.
Yep.
But I think it's good to see that he at least finished the race. Herta won. Colton Herta won. He ended up winning that race. Really great run down to the good battle between him and Pato O'Ward. I really was hoping that Malukas would have been able to stretch the fuel out far enough to where he could have won the race today, going out as a winner for MSR there in that 66 car, which, by the way, they have not announced a second driver for that car yet. They do have Rosenqvist, but they have not announced a second driver yet. Whether they're going to have a second driver or not, I don't know. I'm hoping so. Because I really think that it would benefit them, and they are moving their alliance next year to Chip Ganassi Racing. Which is why I think CGR downsized from 5 cars to 3 cars, and why they're running a car or two in Indy Lights next year, or Indy Next, as people call it, because that's the proper name. Anyways,
Bring back the Freedom 100.
I've, preach it. I've been saying that for 5 years. But let me see if I can get.
No. Oh, you're looking that up. Alex Blow won the title. That's just what, third title in 5 years?
Third title in 4 years.
4 years. Okay, they said 5 years on the broadcast for some reason.
Is it 4 or 5? I thought it was 4. Maybe I can't do my Kentucky math, but
at least they said on the broadcast it was 3rd and 5. So
okay. But yeah, he's a 3-time champ. He's the first back-to-back champ since Dario Franchitti, actually, in 2010 and 2011. And do you know what car Dario was driving?
Chip Ganassi, the 10 car.
And go back. Anyways, the 10 car is more successful than the 9 in this decade, confirmed.
Wait, I'm waiting for Joe to. I'm waiting for Joe.
Joe's watching, so he can
I was gonna say
me.
he's gonna put that in the chat and just rip you.
That's a good question, Ryan. We'll get to that in a moment. Is the Nashville Oval or road course better? We'll get to that. We'll get to that question. That's a good one. I like that question. But yeah, Alex Blow, defended his championship. First back-to-back champions. Dario Franchitti actually pulled from 09 to 20. So that's
we all know what happened in 11, which we don't discuss that.
I forgot he won the championship in 2011 because of the Weldon thing. So there you go.
Yep.
So Hello is 27. He is the second youngest 3-time champion behind Sam Hornish Jr.
That's pretty good company. That is very good company.
So he did beat Pato O'Ward by 1.8 seconds today over the mile and a third concrete oval today. So he did good there. Power started 4th, Rose 3rd. We know that. Had problems with the seatbelts. Did on the opening lap. Did recover to finish 24th today out of cars, but hey. Now I did see. Now I don't know if they're going to do this full time next year, but they wanted to experiment a little bit today. They had option tires on the oval for the first time.
Really? Wow, that's cool.
So they had the primary and the reds, the alternate. And you just, I don't know.
Interesting. That I did not know they were doing the alternates. That's going to be interesting to see if they do that next year or not.
Yeah, so if they do that for every race, it's going to be interesting, especially the 500.
Yep.
If they bring that out, I don't know if they will or not. We'll have to see, but I thought regardless it was interesting. Let's see. So it was shortly after the opening lap. It was like lap 8, and then his belts came undone. But Kirkwood and Newgarden and Rosenquist were battling early on. They have a pretty good race on. The early movers was Herta for sure. By lap 40, Kirkwood still had the lead, but Newgarden was on his heels. It seemed like Newgarden and Herta were kind of battling for best car today. Personally, I think Herta had a little bit of a better car, and he won the race. So, kudos to Herta. What I want to see next year is I really want to see Andretti getting back being a championship competitor. As much as I can't really stand Andretti as he is, I think it's good for the sport when that team is running up front and competing for championships.
Didn't Herta finish 3rd in the title this year now? Since he
did,
won?
But I think he obviously had some help with the whole willpower thing today.
Yeah.
But I think they're still a little bit off to where they can, or to be making that jump there with the Ganassis of the world, and with that 2 car and the 12 car on a regular basis. I think they're still missing a little bit. They're still a little bit behind, not by much, but a little bit. And I think they can improve. So, we're gonna make it happen. I think they have. I mean, Kirkwood is too good of a driver to not. I mean, he's improved quite a bit here within the last few weeks to where, I think next year they need to start making a run, and hopefully their alliance with Meyer Shank well, they're no longer going to have that alliance with Meyershank. Never mind.
Hmm.
I think they need to get rid of that 28 car because it has been crap since freaking Ryan Hunter Ray left. They really
Yeah.
haven't been a championship contender since Ryan Hunter Ray left.
No,
And they dropped him for salad.
you don't make friends with salad.
You really don't. And Roman Grosjean is terrible. So get your romaine salad out of here. I don't
Well,
understand how people can root for him.
and then Ericsson's in that car now, and Ericsson hasn't had much luck this year either.
He had a horrible. And I don't know if it was because he was adjusted to the team or what, but let's see. There was a caution when Felix Rosenquist blew a right front tire, lap 56 in turn 2. So that restarted the field. Newgarden took back over the lead. Lap 67 was the restart. And he was under attack between. It was really like a 3 or 4 car race. I think it was between Newgarden, Malukas, Herta, and if you wanted to throw a 4th car in there, I guess you could say Kirkwood or Pato. They're late in the going, but and then a few laps later, Catherine Lake spun. It was future ex-wife. So if you're listening.
I think was it Ericsson who brought out the last caution of the day?
Yes, he brought out the last yellow. I'm reading back up through everything just in case I forgot anything. But yes, Ericsson did bring out the last caution of the day. I'm trying to see. But yeah. So, also they had a yellow line rule enforced today. Didn't know that until it happened. Santino Ferrucci passed Kirkwood below the yellow line at the front stretch.
Why would they have that enforced in Nashville?
You're going pretty fast there. And I think they've done this in the past at places like Chicagoland and Michigan for that just being kind of an unsafe place to pass. And they know it's inviting for drivers to go down there. It's kind of like a Daytona Talladega thing for them.
That's fair.
Which I can somewhat understand, but it seemed like to me Ferrucci was kind of forced down there. You can go back and watch the replay if you want to see it. But to me, I thought it was kind of bogus. But I mean, I understand where IndyCar's coming from to try to keep that as safe as they possibly can. I will say it was nice to see Herta come out and win the race today. That is his first oval win. Seemed like he's only been good at Laguna Seca or street courses.
Or the Indianapolis road course.
Particularly good. Brian Herta, his dad, he owns that place. So, but yeah, your top 10 today. I'll give you top 10. Colton Herta, Pato O'Ward, Newgarden, Kirkwood, Scott McLaughlin, Santino Ferrucci, Marcus Armstrong, Linus Lundqvist, David Malukas, and Connor Daly finished in the 10th. So another top 10 for Juncos Hung here with Connor Daly. I heard that they are having an alliance with Andretti next year. And there is a rumor that potentially Andretti might be switching to Chevrolet.
Oh, wow.
For their engines next year. I don't know how true that is, but it could be a possibility because in IMSA, they are going back to the Cadillac.
Okay.
Where Wayne Taylor was with GM for forever. I mean, yeah, we know him as in the LMDH era as being with Acura, but you go back to the DPI era, and ever since they've been in prototype racing, since Wayne Taylor founded that team, they've been a Chevrolet or GM branded team for basically their entire existence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see that they'll be going back to that next year. Overall, I thought the race was pretty solid. Had some chaotic moments, had some crashes, but overall, I thought the racing was really tight, really close, but really fair. Nobody wrecked anybody really. Scott McLaughlin had a real hell of a save late in the race when him and Newgarden were battling. And there was a really big bump in turn 3 now at Nashville, Mike. They just made a patch
Really?
there in turns 3 and 4 on the bottom lane.
Okay.
Since NASCAR had been there. I guess there was a bump developing, and I guess I don't know what this concrete patch made it worse. I don't know, but that what caused McLaughlin to get loose underneath Newgarden, but he ended up saving it. So I
Gotcha.
thought that was pretty cool, save of the day. But let me ask you, what did you think, or what do you think of which is better, in your opinion, the Nashville Oval or the road course? Now you
Where?
didn't didn't get to see much past lap 8 today, you quitter. I'm just kidding. Um, but what'd you think from the little action that you did?
I thought it was entertaining because I did watch NASCAR races growing up when they raced there in Nashville in the early 2000s. I thought it was good. Compared to the road course, it's probably a little bit better just because the road course turned into a crapshoot, and especially the last couple years with and that way they were designed that course, it was okay, but I mean the road course just turned into a crapshoot, and I mean it wasn't really racing, but the oval, I think, like I said, IndyCar always needs more ovals in my opinion.
Well, and that was funny. Chinsky and I were talking about that today. I'm tired of them doing these double headers at Milwaukee and Iowa. Go back to some of these places that we haven't been to in a while. Race past September
Hmm.
ain't gonna kill you. Make the month of May great again. Get rid of this road course race at the beginning of May at IMS and at Barber.
Don't
Make it,
take an entire month off after February to April.
yeah, we talked about that too. Um, Go back to places like Sonoma. Go back to Michigan. Go back to Chicagoland. Go
Hmm.
back to Kentucky.
Yep.
You need to go back to all these places. Texas,
Texas, yeah, Texas, yep.
Richmond, Watkins Glen. You need to go back to some of these places. Personally,
No,
I think two dates at Nashville can coexist.
I think
And
so.
no, I do not mean a doubleheader at the Nashville Street Race. And no, I do not mean a doubleheader at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Yep.
Freaking idiots. No, that's not what I'm saying. Dates. One at the road course, one at the Super.
And
I think,
they're in different locations too, because
yeah,
Nashville
they're in
Super
different
Speedway is not.
locations.
Yeah.
Nashville, the road race is downtown,
Yep.
where the Super Speedway race is an hour south and east of Nashville.
Yep.
So I think you could really make it work.
But if you're Mark Miles, you're like, oh, we don't need to go back to these places and blah 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 blah. And it's
Yeah, I
like,
want to choke him. I want to choke him.
I think
I just want to
anybody
talk to
wants
him. I
to.
just want to talk to him. I just want to choke him. I just want to talk to him. That's where I'm at with Mark Miles. He needs to be fired. Jay Penske needs to fire him immediately. And he needs to listen to the team owner.
Yep.
No charter system. Just go back to some of these damn racetracks. Have more than 17 events on your schedule. And
Hmm.
race past September.
Hmm.
I'm not asking for much. And don't take 20 weeks off between February and May.
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Like, race at St. Petersburg. Then if you want to take a week off, that's fine. But in 2 weeks, come back for Homestead. And if you want to hit it up at another oval, you can go to Phoenix because Auto Club decided to be stupid and
Yep.
convert to a short track. So we have
Yep.
no super speedways outside of Texas.
Well,
So
Texas wasn't even on the schedule this year.
I know, but I've heard that they're trying to
Oh boy, can they just reconfigure it to the old? Don't make another
I think
super.
that's what they're trying to do. Trying to
Okay,
reconfigure back
good,
to the old way.
good.
We'll see if it actually happens, but that's the rumor I heard. We'll see what happens. Or they're trying to repave or something. I don't know. They ruined the track when they put all that PJ1 crap on it.
Uh huh.
So, but here we are. Regardless, go back to Phoenix. Then you can go to Long Beach. Then after Long Beach, you could take your same exact cars and go to Sonoma. Who would have thought? You could do that in April or March or whatever. Then you can still go to Barber. All right. Make that the end of April. Okay. And then you have the entire month of May. You could do after. So say you have the final race, okay, before the month of May stuff, April 15th. Okay. After that, you take those couple weeks there at the end of April. You do your open test for the 500. You do your rookie test, refresher training, all that stuff. Have that there the last 2 weeks or the last week. Then in May, You do this thing called Indy 500, month of May. I know it's kind of unheard of these days, but we need more than just a day of qualifying. Okay, so first couple weeks of May, first week, just make it open test, open practice, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. Have fans come and go. All right, it gets people excited. 2nd weekend in May, that's when you first do your qualifying runs. Okay, settle your fast 6 or fast 12 or whatever the hell you want to call it. That second Monday or that second Sunday in May, which I think is Mother's Day, mistaken.
Yeah.
Or settle it that Saturday if you don't want to do it on Mother's Day and get in trouble with your mama. Okay. Do it on Saturday. Then you do another round. And that next weekend, you settle 13th through 20th or 25th, whatever you want to do. Okay. And then that third weekend in May, that's when you settle your bump day and you lock in the rest of the field. Bump day that Sunday, and it'd be glorious. And then you have your normal stuff for carb day. And that's what you need to do. And just make it practice every day. Who cares? Oh, it's too much for the teams. They don't have to go out and track. But those teams that really could use the track time, here's the thing. These big teams, Penske, Ganassi, Andretti, they have this thing called a simulator. Where they could go in anytime they want and simulate whenever they want. They have endless hours, endless money, they can do that. But there are other teams, like Meyer Shank, Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan, Juncos Hollinger Racing, where they need this thing called where they have this thing, or Dale Coyne, yeah, where they have this thing called the ASSO-meter. You know what the ASSO-meter is? Carl Long explained this to me. I'll explain to you what the ASSO-meter is. Basically, it's ass to seat in the car driving around a racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to do it the old-fashioned way where they have to be on track.
Mm-hmm.
These small teams need track time. They need practice.
Yep.
They need testing. This is the biggest race of the year. You want to have more cars entered than just 34 every year going for 33 spots? Make it the way it's supposed to be. And it is the most beautiful thing, and having it the actual month of May and give them the actual month of May. Not the week and a half of May. The month of May. I can't say this enough. The month of May, people. The month of May. Okay? It's important around here. So, just do it. But yeah, I think, they could easily overhaul the schedule, and it'd be great. Make IndyCar great again. We're missing another 500-mile race. You're missing another 400-mile. Like, these races, especially on the ovals, and some of these road courses, they're too short. Every race is a fuel mileage race, and it's stupid. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of fuel mileage races all the damn time. Like, make your races just a hair longer to where these guys can go hard all the time. That's where I'm at with that. Just that simple. You need to bring back at least another 500-mile race. So here's my thoughts. You have 3. You have the Triple Crown. So the Triple Crown back in the day was Pocono, Indianapolis, and Ontario. Well, then Ontario closed. So it was just kind of Pocono and Indianapolis there for a little while. And then they tried Texas World Speedway. Well, that shut down, so they had to get rid of that. Then they stopped going to Pocono, so it's just the Indianapolis 500. So what they need to do, they need to do Daytona? Not Daytona. Sorry, somebody commented Daytona in the comments. I think Ryan
That'd
was
be
talking
death.
about NASCAR.
I'm sorry, that'd just be pure death.
I was looking there. I was looking there at the chat. I'm sorry.
You see how iRacing is with IndyCars at Daytona? It'd be pure death, man.
And Talladega. That's it's fun, but it's death for sure.
Yeah, it is.
So sorry. You need to have Indianapolis, Michigan. Have 2 500-mile races there. Texas Motor Speedway needs 500 miles. Make it happen. Make it happen.
Or go back to Pocono over 500 miles.
That's a death trap. They don't want to go to Pocono.
No, they don't. I know.
They should, since we've got this aero screen now, but they won't. And you need to go back to Richmond. You need to go back to Watkins Glen. You need to go back to Miami. You need it, and I'm not talking about the damn street race there that Formula is on. You need to go to the Oval, okay? And you need to go to Motegi. That was a big race. Go to Motegi. because you have the manufacturer supported race in Michigan, Chevrolet. Go to where Honda and Toyota is. Go to Japan. Go take it.
Didn't you say Motegi because like half of it got destroyed in an earthquake?
It was in disrepair for a little while, but I think it's back in
Okay.
decent order. Not entirely sure. But if it's raceable, go back there. Go to the oval. Motegi Oval. It'd be fun.
So I know that you're talking about the schedule, and I just wanted to bring this point up. So what will they do for the month of May next year? Because you remember how most of the practice sessions would
There's
be
3
on
races in the
Peacock.
month of May.
No, I was gonna say most of the practice sessions for the 500 were on Peacock, but since we're going to Fox next year,
Fox.
what are they gonna do?
So
for those?
there's this app that was recently developed that 3 companies agreed on something to give like streaming services. I can't remember the name of it, but basically Turner, ESPN, and Fox linked up to create an app for streaming, and that's how you can get it. From what I heard,
Really? That's
50
what they're gonna be doing?
$50
Okay.
a month is what I've been told is what it cost it. It's unfortunate that everything's that was on Peacock is going away after today, but I think it's best for the sport that they try a different broadcast partner. They've been very, very patient with NBC, in my opinion, the last decade and a half.
I was gonna say, so what's your thoughts overall with NBC being done after today?
It needed to happen. When they came back from commercial once, from the IndyCar side by side, they came back with the NASCAR graphics.
Oh, I did not see that.
From
I know
Peyton talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. I just didn't want to say it. I knew Peyton would say it out loud for me because he's OCD when it comes to his graphics and production side, because that's what he does for a living.
So basically, they were at the end of not giving a you know what, basically.
Oh, they stopped giving a crap halfway through the year. After the 8,500, it's been downhill. I think production value wise, it showed when they decided to pull.
Or moving the races to CNBC a couple times during the year too. They were just like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
to
you."
NASCAR, which I'm sorry, as much as I love NASCAR should go to CNBC and not IndyCar. If IndyCar paid for a time slot to be on USA, they should not be moved to CNBC because NASCAR's on. You move the NASCAR race to CNBC. You make the old Southern folk go look for the damn channel. And I'm looking at you, Mr. Boomer, over here to my left on my screen, on my main screen here, down below me, over this way. By the way, you can pointing at you that doesn't like it when the channel gets changed for the races. Looking at you. Looking at you right now. Move the damn race to CNBC until IndyCar's over. Because I'm sick and tired of that crap. I'm kind of glad there's not a monopoly anymore. Honestly, I am.
No.
It's stupid.
Well, they did the stuff at Iowa too. They moved it to CNBC because of the news crap that one day at Iowa.
Yeah,
'Cause
fuck
they-
'em. I'm sorry. I said. Sorry.
Sorry, AJ.
I'm sorry, AJ. I'm really fired up about this. I don't care. Screw the news. Bro, I don't care about Trump. I don't care about Kamala Harris. I don't care about none of them. I want to watch a race. Put the damn race on.
Yeah.
That's where I stand. And I was pissed when I heard about the thing that happened at the Brickyard when we were there.
Yep.
They had to move it to USA or CNBC or USNBC or whatever the hell it is.
Yep.
Move it to my ass. I don't know. But like I was pissed when I heard about it.
I
like,
was
really?
pissed too.
I was like, really? Like, I don't care about Trump. I care about racing. If I'm going to sit here and sit on my butt and watch the Brickyard, it better be on the channel it's supposed to be, and not just moving around crap.
Yep.
Because NBC wants to sit here and spew hate on their political views. There, I said it out loud.
Not wrong.
But yeah. So, but no, what Ryan was saying is, remember when the month of February belonged to Daytona, like the month of May belonged to Indianapolis.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point.
And it is a very good point. Hell, I remember it was January and February belonged to Daytona because you had NASCAR preseason testing.
Mm-hmm.
You had the 24 Hours of Daytona all in January.
Yep.
And then right after that, NASCAR came right back and did practice I remember when they had. Uh-oh. Show that. I remember when they had a week of practice qualifying before pole day for the Daytona 500. And I remember watching it. It was like watching paint dry, but I remember watching it when it was on speed.
Yep.
All right. Like, that was a big freaking deal. And then they took that, and then NASCAR decided, oh, we're taking that all away because it costs too much for teams. Bull crap, it does. The engine bills are the same. Since you went to the new engine rules, the engine bills have been the same. I don't care if you put 900 horsepower or 500 horsepower in it.
And no new manufacturers either. So it's like,
it's
okay.
because you're running a V-rod, V8 push rod, stupid engine since the 50s. That's why you're not getting new manufacturers. NASCAR does not have a desire to run hybrid because they're worried that's going to piss off the rest of the boomer fan base. Well, let me tell you something, boomers. Not looking at you at this one. You're not as big of a boomer as some. All right. Hybrid is good. EV is bad. All right. I think it's fair to say, right? I think we can agree to that,
that's
right?
fair.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Cool. So, hybrid, I'm fine with. If you revamp how the engines are built and all across all three series, have them all run hybrids, that is where you will get your more manufacturers. That's why Dodge ain't coming back, because it's not hybrid. Well, hell, now they're so progressive they're running EV anyway. But that you want to get Honda, you want to get Kia, Hyundai, Cadillac. I don't know, Nissan. You want to get them guys in here? You really want to get more manufacturers in here? You need to go hybrid. Period. End of discussion. Go hybrid. And you need to not have these old ass engines from 1965 still being ran in the sport. I'm sorry. These carburetor engines that they're still running the Xfinity series and the Truck series. You need a hybrid. Hybrid. It needs to happen. I love Speed. I loved Speed Weeks. It was the best. Yes, and I loved it when it was on Speed. Great. Ryan, that was not targeted at you. I was more targeting at the audience that doesn't really watch. That's 55 and over. But anyways, they need to go hybrid. They do. Period. Toyota would be so dominant it would leave Chevrolet and Ford in the dust. I think that's why they don't switch to hybrid. Because Toyota would kick their butt. Probably. Because on the street, Toyota's kicking their butt.
Yeah.
Same. Last 30 years, Toyota's got this whole hybrid thing down. Them and Honda. But it needs to happen. Period. And the way that they built this next gen car was designed to keep in mind for hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to happen sooner rather than later. But yeah, freaking Anthony out here calling everybody boomers. Oh, it's the Nissan comment. Do you drive a Nissan, Ryan? Drive a Nissan? If you do, I'll go back and say it's a Nissan. Let that one sink in.
But I think to wrap this up, I think NBC. I mean, I thought they did overall really good job over the last 10 years. I mean, especially going from
I think they did too. Especially these broadcasters at the end, these partnerships, it's like they stopped caring, and they need to not do that.
I will say that Xfinity got a good goodbye video package at the end of their run on Fox, and they got an IndyCar got a good goodbye package from NBC today.
Yeah, so that was cool. But yeah, so this broadcast was brought to you by All Star 15 TV. Go follow the Facebook page. Be sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to know every time that we go live. Mike, this week we are so back. Tomorrow we've got ACAR. They are at Legacy, Texas. I haven't practiced a damn lap at that today. As soon as we get off of here. But Extreme is back this week, and we got a new broadcast partner. It's All Star 15 TV. The truck race on Tuesday nights. You're going to be that.
Yep.
And I'm going to be in the booth with Ryan. Hey, Ryan, I put you first instead of AJ.
And Ryan was
he always says that he's forgotten about. So I got Ryan and AJ in the booth with me on Tuesdays for trucks.
Ryan was complaining the last time I was on the other podcast that he was never introduced as a broadcast partner. So there you go, Ryan. You got an introduction.
There you go. So you get it from me, not from AJ, but that's okay. We're here. And then Wednesday we've got the Xfinity Series, and of course that you're going to be in the booth with Anthony and AJ. Two Anthonys of some kind in the booth on Wednesday nights.
So can I just nickname them Double A?
You're going to confuse the hell out of people. Anyways, so we got that going on. I'm excited for that. I'm really excited to bring Extreme on for broadcasting, for adding that to AJ's repertoire for broadcasting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. But
and I hear we're going to have some special stuff happening for the season opener. We're not doing the special stuff this week, but we'll be doing it for the season opener. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's going to be some special stuff happening.
True, I'll spoil it. I'm not going to tell them everything that we're doing, but I'll tell you what. So you see our ugly mugs right here? Okay. This is going to be regular, okay, for pre-race. Just trying it out. I know we've done driver cams in the past. I hope AJ's paying attention because I really want to do a driver cam for him tomorrow. So if he's paying attention to the broadcast or the podcast, I'll do a driver cam for him tomorrow. But we are going to bring back the commentator cams for pre-race. So AJ will be cammed up. I'll be cammed up. Capisha will be cammed up. Ryan will be cammed up. And Anthony's ugly butt will also be cammed up. All right. Not his butt, but like his actual. Anyways.
It won't be this week, but tune in for the season opener and you'll see that.
Not for the duels, but definitely for the Daytona season opener. We're going to try to do it every week.
Yep. So
hopefully you guys are able to tune into that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to try to bring back the driver cams for Extreme as well. So I know a lot of people did that in the past. So, but yeah, so we got that going for us. Daytona's going to be fun. We just got the duel. So you only got 2 35-lap races to deal with this week in the booth. So that'll be fun on Tuesday and Wednesday night. For everybody involved. I love Daytona. As far as calling the duels, that's and then we've got the real thing the following week. So that's going to be fun for point racing and getting back into the. Anything else you wanted to mention before we sign off?
Well, we'll just preview next week. We got the Truck Series race, truck race and ARCA race Thursday night at Bristol, kicking off the weekend. The Xfinity first ever CW broadcast on Friday night under the lights at Bristol. Dale Jr. running, obviously. Then Saturday is the good old cutoff race, the first round of the cutoff race. 4 eliminations possible. We'll see who makes it in, who makes it out. And then obviously
regular season finale for the.
That's a good point too. I forgot about that. And then obviously Sunday, you want to tell the folks where you're heading on Sunday?
Yeah, so Sunday I am going to the IMSA 6 hours of the Battle at the Bricks. So we'll be doing that. I'll be there live for that. And we will actually, instead of doing the podcast after the Cup race on Saturday, we're going to do it all Sunday evening. So we'll be covering IMSA. We'll be covering all of NASCAR across all 3 series for this past weekend, or this upcoming weekend. That'll be a lot of fun. After this, if you guys want to swing over, we do have Wrestling with Nerds following this broadcast here. In just a little bit on the Nerds Doing Nerd Things channel. Ryan, drop a link. Drop a link in the comments there for us, Ryan. And be sure to go give them a follow and a like as well. They talk a little bit about everything. They talk about wrestling. They talk about everything nerdy. Am I allowed to say that? I mean, it says that in the red. I do enjoy listening to the wrestling podcast. I have a fun time with that. And I do enjoy listening to Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast when it talks about something that I'm halfway into. Sometimes I don't watch because I'm not into all that. I don't get into the weeds. But it is fun to listen to it occasionally. So, but I don't have anything else. Mike, you got anything else?
No, I am all good.
All
Glad
right,
to
so
glad to be back again this week and looking forward to doing this again next Sunday.
yeah, so we are done. Thank you guys so much for watching and participating. This is the Off and Turn One podcast. My name is Gary. That's Mike Campiccio.